Hey, Tony, talking back some trash to you. Hey, man, let's go on to complete this Jefferson airplane thing here for y'all. Been a little while since we've been proverbially rolling the tape here. We've had a lot of stockpiled, so there's a little bit of a difference in what I'm reporting to you guys and when this stuff comes out. We've decided to, just as a public service here, to decide to slow down not really slow down the input, but really slow down the output as to when it comes. There's some Jefferson airplane things I don't think I showed you guys. Maybe I did, but let me show you some of the other stuff that I have here. Of course, I got a bunch of Starship stuff. This is Starship Earth. This is Starship Red Octopus. This is Starship Spitfire, which is actually not too bad. This is, and then you can get into a lot of the solo records. There's great slick stuff, and here's great slick in the Great Society, and here's great slick in Dreams, and here's great slick and Manhole, which is probably one of the coolest one ever. Especially, I got a specially branded one for DJs. I actually thought they're going to get this type of avant-garde stuff on the radio. I've got some of the weirdo Kantner slick stuff when Kantner let it go with stuff and kept going with it. Blows Against the Empire here. Kantner and David Friedberg and Baron von Tolbooth and the Chrome Nut. It's endless, dudes. But anyway, I'm not done. This is actually got a Joey Covington record here. And I think I told you guys about the great DNS, man. KBCDNS. Did not sell. And then we've got a couple other things here to show you. There's some great live records. Bless this pointed little head. This is really a great live record. Some of these stuff are really better than a lot of the other ones from the time recorded. I think Al Schmidt had a lot to do with that. And we talked a lot about that during the album thing. We have 30 Seconds Over Winterland here. This is a great early flight thing. If you don't have this is they are one of the best documented bands. That 2400 Fulton Street or whatever is fantastic. This is a great compilation here. It's got everything to it, flight log, early stuff. And then the beautiful worst of Jefferson Airplane here that I have. That actually a client of mine gave me not too long ago. And this is a beautiful copy of it, and I appreciate it for it, man. Let's talk about my 20 favorite airplane tracks. Everybody's got to have a different opinion about this. It's interesting with the production. It's interesting, what you pick. But again, as I've told you guys, I'm probably primarily a Yorma guy for the most part. I mean, I not that you have to pick one versus the other. I mean, I like it when you'll see them in my list here that some of the best ones are when they're all working together. But I have 20 going, and I'm trying to be fair and spread these out throughout the deal. I don't know if the last one has any on it, but I think some of the other ones do. Let's start off. I said I'm a Yorma man. Let's start off with Yorma's Trial by Fire from Long John Silver, the one that has the nice case inside. You can roll your own inside, kind of a briefcase thing in here. One of my favorites from there. Number 19, let's go with the title track from my favorite record, as you know, of the airplane. I'm talking about Volunteers. The whole thing, I just love the way the whole beginning rambles on. I know some people think it's political. I know some people think it's picking at a scab too much. I mean, when you're talking about targeting people's private property, I guess that you're gonna run into some problems. Let's go to Bark for another Yorma gem, and I'm talking about Feels So Good. As I said before, and I think I emphasized this in the countdown, I really think that in the years after the beginning, when in some of the later years, to me, all the highlight stuff pretty much was Yorma. I mean, Kantner was off on some of this stuff that then ended up, translating in some of these other, space-based or I don't know, even almost like L. Ron Hubbard-ish type of things. I shouldn't say that. That's not bad. I love. Some of the stuff is pretty much my favorite stuff. Let's go to one of those situations where people were working together. Let's go to from Surrealistic Pillow. Let's go to Funny Cars, man. I mean, what a beautiful thing that is. Kantner and Ballin there, working really, really good. And if you're talking about Kantner, I love some of his stuff too. And I think some of the earlier stuff, before it started to get so connected to some of the, I don't know, some of the stuff, I think he kind of fragmented himself out, and whether or not the relationships in the band had anything to do with this. But I'm talking about After Bathing in Baxter's Wild Time. Just probably one of my favorite Kantner or bass things. For number 15, The Ballad of You and Me and Pooh Neal, baby. And we're talking. Everybody knows that, and that is an absolute classic. And for number 14, let's go to Crown of Creation and Greasy Heart. It actually was one of the first. The funny thing about Crown of Creation, I don't know if I told you guys this or not when we did the countdown, but I just when going through these songs, it reminded me that this was the Crown of Creation. Probably was my entry point. I think it was my first one that I heard, and then back and got of course, Surrealistic Pillows next, and then probably floated up to and got Volunteers, and man, I really like Volunteers. But it was scary. But this is years after. This isn't when all the shit's going down, man. Let's go to Surrealistic Pillow, as we spoke about with Marty Ballin's wonderful coming back to me. I like some of Marty's stuff. The funny thing about it is, and I don't tell anybody I said this. If you do, I won't listen to me as I put it out in the video. I like Marty's stuff. I like some of Marty's songs. I mean, Marty's pop songs are beautiful, man. I mean, Runaway and the stuff that he did with Starship. I mean, to me he was the star of Starship. I mean, Jane and all that stuff just built this city. Come on, man, that's not. And I saw a doc on here, one of these other ones that I would encourage you guys to check it out, where they talked about what happened with them and the way Grace and the old lawyer pulled a fast one on Kantner. That's what really surprises me, man. Anyway, let's go to like I told you, let's go to that wonderful record I love. I think it was my number 2, right? Yeah, Crown of Creation and The House at Pooh Corners. I love it, man. Number 11, one of Grace's finest moments, I think, Lather from Crown of Creation as well. We stay at Crown of Creation for that. I am going to go back to the first record for my number 10 with some Runaround. Again, an early take, an early poppy kind of a song. Takes Off was a different type of a record, pre-Gracie. Number 9. Let's go to the very next stop, and Gracie in the Fold, My Best Friend from Surrealistic Pillow. Always one of my favorite dead ones. I would or not. I consider that whole era there. When I consider that record and Anthem of the Sun and maybe Oxymox, a lot of that stuff there around the same time. Yeah, I just think I think it's early, and again, that was a song written by Skip Spence, and that's why I like it. Both the other two guys are singing it, but I like it. That's a good song, and it is kind of foreshadowing of what would come later in Moby Grape, Omaha, and all those songs. Let's go to number 8, Good Shepherd from Volunteers. I just love the way it says, one by na 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 na. I just like Yorma's voice. It's beautiful. I love it, man. And let's get back to some more Yorma, baby. And Each Starch Mom, as I mentioned, Long John Silver, the end track. Again, Yorma took over, when there's a lot of space. There really was a dearth of compositions at the end. There's no question. His was the shining moment. And it just blended right over through with Hot Tune. It just depended on what Yorma would give him. But he had such good quality stuff. Fantastic. Let's go with one of the last stops here. Of course, the song, some people don't like it, but it leads off most compilations. I'm talking about Marty's signature Marty sound. It's no secret off the first record here, number 6, and they played that after Grace stayed there. Talking about Grace, let's go to Volunteers and what I think is her high point of her contribution to the, as far as compositionally. We're talking about Hey Frederick from Volunteers, just beautiful. And I think Yorma's feeling it here. For number 4, let's dip our toe in the most, to me, the most pleasant taste of psychedelia they produce. The part of the suite from After Bathing at Baxter's, The Last Wall of the Castle, just beautiful, beautiful early psychedelic. Uh, I know the production on that's weird. Al tried on that, and it was really experimenting and learning. But you figure what really worked out of that, and then what clarified itself on Chronic Creation was pretty unbelievable. Okay, we're going to go to number 3. Of course, I'm going to go to Crosby Wooden Ships from Volunteers. Let's go to there. Number 2. Probably the first track I ever heard of the Airplane, and that I really was hooked into, and I'm talking about In Time from Crown of Creation is my number 2. I told you this was a personal list, man. You're not going to get any like Somebody to Love or anything like that. That's not. You're on the wrong channel for that stuff. I've really tried to tell you what I mean. Let me tell you, I have appreciation for the pop hits. I do. But if you really dig into a band hard, when you've seen them and you've seen them different times, and I've seen the Airplane or some version of that, or the Starship a few times. They did that weird thing back in that Get Together record. There was some corporate thing that I seem to vaguely remember in Washington D.C. that I went to. But my number 1 has to be da 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 da. We can be together. We must be there here and now. New universal love song. I just think it. Tear down the walls, mother. Tear down higher and higher. And I just think it was the best. I think it was a risk. It was political. Yeah, it went over the line when he said about the private property part. It did. But people got really freaked out by it. I remember I talked to a real conservative guy here in town, and I asked him, what he grew up in New York at the time. My wife grew up in New York, and they came down here from Brooklyn. And I asked him what he listened to when he grew up. He said, "Oh, I listened to all the stuff." And he especially talked about like the Dead and the different stuff. I said, "Really?" He goes really bothered by like the private property line in Jefferson Airplane. He's told me that back in the day, that was his deal breaker with him. He said he listened to him up to that point, but as soon as he heard him say that, he said he was done. He didn't want to hear anymore. They were on the enemy list. I didn't ask any more questions anyway. Who knows, guys? But anyway, listen. Thanks for hanging around. Please leave your list. Let me know anything you think about the Airplane. Let me know what a normal person's list looks like. Leave it down there. Please hit the like button, man. I always love to have you guys here. Smash that like button. Please subscribe, and we will check you guys next time with something nice and fun. See ya.